are once again on the record in the case of People versus Simpson. The defendant is present with counsel. The people are represented. There's one item of housekeeping, in essence, that I'd like to take care of. We did discuss this in chambers, and I didn't ever follow through back on the record. And that was with reference to the motion with regard to the hair and the hair samples. The prosecution had marked 2 exhibits which had never been formally moved into evidence. They were marked for identification only. Those were a couple of articles that Ms. Kessler had referred to. Ms. Clark, did the people want to make a motion with regard to those exhibits at this time?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. The people would ask the court to receive them as evidence for the purpose of that hearing.
Mr. Shapiro, do you wish to be heard?
Submitted, Your Honor.
All right, Peoples 1 and 2 then would be received with regard to that particular motion. Now, with reference to the preliminary hearing, we are in progress on. Do you have a witness now that you can call?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. I'd like to apprise the court of the fact that the people have filed a response to the motion to suppress. It was faxed to counsel, and I'd like to also serve counsel on the record with a conformed copy of the motion as well, and a copy to Mr. Ullman.
All right, for the record, the court received that about 10 minutes ago.
Yes.
All right.
We received it at 7:26 this morning.
Okay. Call your next witness at this time.
Thank you. People call Mr. Mr. Allan Park.
Face the clerk and raise your right hand, please.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please be seated. State and spell your name for the record.
Allan Park, Allanpark.
You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Park, tell us what you do for a living.
Drive limousines.
And how long have you been doing that, sir?
I was working for Town and Country Limo for about 3 months, 3.5 months.
And as of June the 12th, 1994, were you working for Town and Country Limousine?
Yes, I was.
Were you a limo driver for that company, sir?
Yes, I was.
On the date of June the 12th, 1994, did you have an order for pickup in Brentwood that evening?
Yes, I did.
And what was your order?
My order was to pick up O.J. Simpson at 360 Rockingham Lane.
And what time were you supposed to be there?
10:45
Where were you supposed to take him?
to L.A. Airport.
Now, had you ever been to that area before?
No, I haven't.
And what time did you get there?
I arrived at about 10:25. I got there early. I wanted to make sure I knew where the house was, and we're always told to be there 10 minutes early.
So you were there actually 20 minutes early.
Yes.
When you arrived there at 10:25, where did you park?
I parked on Ashford, pointing east. Or west, that would be. Sorry.
Was that near a gate of some kind?
Yes, it was. It was across the street from a gate.
And was that gate that we're referring to, was that gate part of the property of 360 Rockingham?
Yes, it was.
So you parked across the street from the residence on the Ashford side?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to object, Your Honor, that is not what his testimony was.
Well, you just stated that's where you parked. Is that where you parked?
That's where I parked.
He said it was across the street from the residence. That was not his testimony.
Where exactly were you parked, sir?
I was parked right on Ashford across the street from the residence.
The objection's over.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a series of photographs, A through F. Ask that you mark people's next in order of response. 6. showing you what's been marked as vehicle 6. Can you tell me if you recognize this location, sir?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to put it up here so you can see. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Here's a pointer if you need it. First of all, directing your attention to photograph labeled B. Does that appear to be a corner to you, sir?
Yes, it does.
Can you point out which side is which street? Can you tell from that photograph?
It's kind of hard.
All right,
If-
let me direct your attention then to photograph C. You want to step down and look at it?
Okay.
Can you orient yourself now?
Well, yeah, that's Rockingham.
All right. For the record, the witness has gestured to the photograph labeled C and said that's Rockingham. So the street shown where the police car is and where that white Bronco is farther down the street, that's Rockingham?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Then in photograph B, can you tell us what streets are shown?
Well, it looks like the corner of Ashford and Rockingham.
Can you point out to us which one is Ashford?
This one to the left.
Okay, and for the record, the witness has pointed out the left street indicated as you face the photograph. And which side is Rockingham?
This side with the police car.
For the record, the witness has pointed to the area shown with the police car in photograph B. I have a diagram, Your Honor. I'd ask that this be marked equal 7. Showing you people 7, sir. Can you tell us if you recognize what's depicted in that diagram?
Yes, I can.
What is it?
It looks like a diagram of the residence.
Now, on that diagram, can you show us roughly where you parked when you first arrived at 360 Rockingham at 10:25?
I was on this side of the street of Ashford, parked almost parallel with the gate.
And for the record, the witness has pointed to the very top of the diagram that would appear to be across the street from the residence and parallel to the gate indicated by 2 horizontal lines, one slightly lower than the other. Can you point out the area that you're referring to as gate, sir, for the record?
Is the gate?
Mm-hmm.
This area right here.
Thank you. The witness has pointed out that area. I'm going to ask you to write on the diagram, if you will, write gate.
Right gate?
Yeah, the word. Is there another gate indicated in that diagram?
Yes.
Can you write that down also, sir? For the record, the witness has done so. He has indicated with the word gate at the top of the diagram where the 2 lines were indicated earlier, just above where it says driveway, he's indicated gate, and then at the bottom of the diagram where it says driveway again, he's indicated gate. Can the court see you?
Yes, I can, thank you.
Now, how was it that what route did you take to get to that location, sir?
I came up Rockingham on this side going north, and I was going a little fast, so I missed the house, saw the address, made a right onto Ashford, went halfway down to Ashford and made a U-turn, came back and parked where I said earlier.
Now, was that a stretch limo or a regular size? Can you tell us how big it was?
It was a stretch,
Did that make it difficult for you to make turns?
yeah. And
So you got to the location across the street from the gate of the Ashford side of the house at 10:25 and parked there.
correct,
Yes?
correct.
What happened next?
I had a little bit of time, so I just stepped out of the car and had a cigarette and listened to the radio for a little bit, and
When you stepped out of the car, where did you go?
I just went to the back of the the limousine, sat on the curb.
And after you finished your cigarette, what did you do?
Got back in the car and proceeded to wait another 5 minutes or so, or at about 10:40 is when I pulled up to the front gate. After I came around first, I came around Ashford onto Rockingham, looked in the driveway, and it just didn't look accessible as the other driveway, so I backed up and came back over to Ashford.
All right, so you got back in your car at about what time after having the cigarette?
Just before 10:40,
And what did you do then?
just what I told you.
You drove down Ashford?
Yes, made a left on Rockingham. Looked at the driveway and just, it didn't look easy to get into, so I backed straight back up and went back to the Ashford gate.
So was it 10:40 at the point when you reached the Rockingham gate?
It was, about the time. There was only a 30-second interval or so from me coming from this gate going back to there. It was about 10:40 when I pulled up to the gate on Ashford.
So was it about 10:39 then when you pulled down to the Rockingham gate?
Yes, you can say that.
When you pulled down to the Rockingham gate, you say you looked up the driveway?
Yes.
Would that mean, sir, that your driver's side window was parallel to the driveway?
Yes, it was.
And so you were right next to this area here that I'm indicating with my pen, which is just above the line that seems to indicate the edge of the driveway, uppermost on the Rockingham side.
Yes.
Now, why are you looking at that driveway? For what purpose?
To drive into it.
And why did it seem inaccessible to you?
It just seemed too narrow of the two walls here, and just the way the cars were, and the way the driveway bent this way, it didn't look as easy as the other side. It was coming in straight ahead and then making the turn.
So it looked a little bit too tight to get up to the front door
Yes.
of that gate? So you were looking carefully through that window to assess whether or not you could make the turn.
Yeah.
Did you notice any white Ford Bronco parked on the Rockingham side near the gate?
No, I didn't.
Would you have seen it had it been parked there next to the gate?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustain us to the form of the question.
Given the manner in which you were looking at that location when you pulled up to the Rockingham gate, would that white Ford Bronco have been right in your field of view?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled.
You can answer.
I wouldn't say it was right in my exact site.
Was it in your field of view where you were
No.
looking towards the driveway? Was that area, let me indicate with my pen. Were you able to see this area as you were looking up the driveway?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and for the record, I'm indicating the area just above the line that appears to indicate the upper boundary of the driveway. Okay. Were you able to see this area?
Yes, I was.
And as you were looking down the driveway, you could see this area that I'm indicating with my pen?
Yes.
And you did not see the white Ford Bronco?
No, I didn't.
Thank you. Now, that was 10:40 approximately, 10:39 you said?
Yes.
And then what did you do? After you pulled up to that Rockingham gate?
I backed straight back up and made another left on Ashford and came up to this gate, the Ashford gate.
For the record, the witness pointed to the Ashford gate. Where did you park when you came back to the Ashford side?
I pulled in frontwards in the limousine, and, the front bumper was just about touching the gate.
So at that point, was the front of your limo pointing into the driveway?
Yes, it was.
At what time was it at that point when you pulled up to the gate facing into the driveway on the Ashford side?
About 10:40.
What happened next?
I turned off my lights and I just had my parking lights on. I stepped out of the car and rang the intercom, which is just to the left.
Can you show us where that is?
It would be right about here.
Be that you mark that. Why don't you just mark that with an I? where the intercom was. For the record, the witness has placed an eye on the diagram at what appears to be the,
Well, it's not that exact spot.
near the, one of the lines indicating gate on the diagram that is closest to the Ashford side. And when you press the intercom, was there a sound that it made?
Yeah, it made a buzzing noise or something like that.
And what happened after you buzzed?
There was no answer.
What did you do?
I continued to buzz the bell a few times after that.
Did you get an answer?
No.
Now, can you tell me, sir, at that point, were you able to see the house itself?
Yes, I was.
Were there lights on in the house?
There was one on upstairs.
And downstairs?
Not that I can see now. I thought they were off.
From what you could tell, all the lights appear to be off downstairs.
Yes.
For how long did you continue to ring the bell?
I rang it off and on until about 10:50 before I called my boss.
So from 10:40 to 10:50, you continued to ring the bell,
Yeah.
and you got no response?
No.
When you were ringing the bell, can you tell us whether you were facing into the driveway or away? How are you standing?
I was standing right in front of the gate.
And which way were you facing?
Kind of southeast, not looking straight through the gate, but just facing the intercom.
And facing the intercom meant that you were facing the driveway?
Towards the driveway, yeah. It's not exactly looking straight into the driveway. I'm kind of catty corner looking at the wall.
What wall is that?
This wall here, just the big pillar.
And for the record, the witness has indicated the box area just to the right of the place where he put I. Are you able to see the driveway from where you're standing at the intercom?
Yes.
You continued to ring the bell until 10:50 and you got no answer.
Correct.
What happened at that point?
At that point, I made a phone call paging my boss, which I waited for him to call back. He called back at about 10:55.
Now, did you call was your boss the first person you called?
I paged him first, and I wasn't sure if the page went through, so I called my mom and had her get a phone number for me, which was his house number. And I called back on the house number, nobody was there, and right after I hung up, he called back.
What time was it when you paged your boss?
Just about 10:50.
Well, you were ringing the bell until 10:50.
Mm-hmm.
Say yes.
Yes.
Then you paged him, you said?
Yes.
Then you called your mom,
Yes.
and then you paged him again.
No, I called his house,
You called his house.
and there was no answer. And after I hung up the phone, I was called back. The page was responded. He called me back.
And between the time that you paged your boss and he called back, what did you do? Did you get out of the car again?
Yeah, I got out of the car and rang the bell a couple more times.
So you had paged your boss, called your mother, called his home, and then got out of the car and rang the bell again?
A couple times, yeah.
A couple of times?
Yeah, just
Was there an answer?
no.
Did you get back in the car?
Yeah, when the phone rang.
So you heard the phone ring inside the car?
Yeah, I had the door open. The car door was open, so.
I see. So the driver's side door was open?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
And then you went, so when you were at the intercom buzzing again, you could hear the phone ringing inside the car?
Yes.
You got back in the car, what happened next?
My boss was on the phone, and I just told him, I said, I don't think anybody's home. And what he told me was that, he said, Mr. Simpson's always running late, so just make sure you hang out till about 11:15, and if he's not there by then, just go ahead and come on home.
Did he give you some direction about what to look for in the house?
He asked me if there was a light on, and, you know, because I told him there was no lights on. And he asked me if there was a light on that resembled like a pantry or something like that that was behind the garage area. And I just told him no, I didn't see any lights on downstairs at all.
What time was it when your boss called you back?
About 10:55.
So you had he called you back at 10:55, you had the conversation with him that you've recounted for us. And after you had that conversation with him, what did you do?
As before I was going to hang up, that's when I saw this white male come out from behind the house.
Were you seated in the car at the time?
Yes, I was.
Was your driver's door open or closed?
From what I can remember, it was open.
You saw a white male step out where, if you can indicate on the diagram?
He came out from this way. He came out towards the driveway.
For the record, the witness is indicating what appears to be a path area to the right of the driveway, as it's indicated on the Ashford side. Do you have the pen still?
No.
Could you indicate with an X roughly the general area where you first saw that white male?
When I first saw him?
Yes. Can you make it a little bigger? Thank you. For the record, the witness has done so, placing a blue X in the area previously indicated. From where you were seated at that time, sir, can you show us what area was visible to you of the driveway?
It would be about, I could see to about the corner of the house, a little bit farther back to about this area.
All right, I'm going to ask you to draw a line indicating that area of visibility that you just pointed us with the pointer. For the record, the witness has done so. Can you tell us, is there a porch light at the area marked front door, at the front door of the residence? Is there a porch light?
From what I can remember, yes.
How much light did that offer? How much area did it light up?
You want me to draw it?
Sure. For the record, the witness has drawn a line that appears to be an arc in front of the two circles closest to the driveway, to the left of the front door area. Was that a very bright light that came from the porch light?
Not that I remember. I mean, it was a normal porch light.
Okay, so the porch light was lit, but the house was dark downstairs.
Correct.
Now, for the lighting of the driveway, can you tell us how much of the driveway was lit and how much was in darkness from your vantage point, from where you were in the limousine outside the gate on the Ashford side?
Well, this area here is pretty hard to see. Anything back here it was dark.
Can you indicate that again? What part was in darkness? From what point back?
I'd say from about here back.
You indicating like from the corner of the garage up
Yeah.
in a line?
From my visual point where when I told you I can see on back.
I see. Can I ask you to draw a straight line from the area, I guess you've indicated the corner of the garage here, to back to indicate what was in darkness?
Anything there, Pat?
All right, I'm going to indicate for the purpose of clarity with hatch marks, just to indicate that that means that you're indicating that was dark, all right? Now, was there a light somewhere above the garage?
From what I can remember, I think there was a light, but it was very high up and it didn't offer that much light. I think there were some trees around there.
Now, when your boss called back at 10:55, during that phone call, you said you saw the white male come out on the Ashford side path.
Correct.
And about what time was that?
In 10:56, 10:57, you know.
Can you describe that white male for us?
5'11", 170 pounds. Blonde hair, medium length.
Was he holding anything?
He had a flashlight.
How long did the conversation with your boss last?
3 minutes, I don't know.
3 minutes?
2 minutes, 3 minutes, I don't know. I
So
can't
about-
remember.
Pardon?
I can't remember.
It was not a long conversation.
No, it was very brief.
So your estimate right now is about 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, I guess.
Did you see something else after you saw that white male on the Ashford side path?
Almost simultaneously as I saw him, I saw somebody cross the driveway and go into the house from this area, came out.
Can you please put an X where you first saw that person?
I think you already have an X on the diagram. Maybe you should make that an X sub 1 or 2.
Want me to circle
Why
the
don't
X?
we- Was that person a male or a female?
I couldn't tell.
Can you describe the person?
6 foot, 200 pounds,
Black or white?
black.
What were they wearing?
Just seemed to be dark clothes.
Why don't you put P for person, where you put that X before? For the record, the witness has done so. So you saw someone, African American, 6 foot, 200 pounds, wearing all dark clothing.
From what I can recall, yes.
Could you tell if that person had anything in their hands?
No.
And was that person moving quickly or slowly?
Walking pretty fast.
And where did that person go?
Into the front door.
of this residence?
Yes.
And when that person walked into the front door, what happened next?
A couple lights came on, and I was still waiting, just waiting for this white male to open the gate, or he was just standing there, kind of recognized me, waved at me, or...
So you saw this person walk into the front door of the house, and did the lights come on downstairs immediately?
Yes, a light came on in the entryway.
As that person passed through the porch light going into the front door, could you see who that person was?
No.
Could you tell at that point whether the person was male or female?
I couldn't tell.
Okay, immediately after that person entered the door and the lights went on downstairs, what happened next?
I waited a couple seconds to see if the white male was going to come and open the gate, which he didn't, so I got back out of the car and buzzed the gate again. At that time, I got an answer.
Now wait, how long was it between the time you saw the person enter the front door, the lights went on, you buzzed the gate? How much time elapsed between the lights going on, the person entering the front door, and you buzzing the gate?
15, 20 seconds.
So 15 or 20 seconds after the person entered the house, you buzzed the gate.
Yes.
What happened then?
The intercom was answered by what I believe was Mr. Simpson, and he told me that he overslept and he just got out of the shower, and that he'd be out and be down in a minute.
And when you say you believe Mr. Simpson, is that someone you see in court today, sir?
Yes, it is.
Could you please point him out?
He's right here.
And what's he wearing today?
We'll
For the record.
we'll stipulate that.
All right.
So Mr. Simpson told you that he'd overslept and he just got out of the shower
Correct.
and he'd be down in a few minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yes, yes.
The person that you saw walk into the house, after which you saw the lights go on, could you tell where they came from, whether it was Rockingham or the garage area?
I couldn't tell what direction he was coming from. I could tell you what direction he was walking.
Yes, he was walking towards the front door?
Yes.
But you couldn't tell where he was coming from?
No.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the point of the question. The witnesses testified he couldn't tell whether it was a male or female. And Ms. Clark is saying he couldn't tell where he was coming from.
Sustained. Assumes the fact not in evidence at this point.
You couldn't tell where that person was coming from?
Correct.
After you had the conversation with Mr. Simpson, what happened next?
I got back in the car and waited for the gate to be open, which still took another 30 seconds or so.
Did you see where the male white was at that point?
He stood there pretty much the whole time.
Could you see whether he walked over to the garage area at some point while you were waiting for him to open the gate and talking to Mr. Simpson?
Not that I can recall, no.
Was the male white and the other person you saw walking into the front door, dressed in all dark clothing, were they ever on the driveway at the same point in time?
I don't remember that. I wouldn't.
You don't remember
I don't
seeing them on the
recall.
driveway at
No.
the same point, at the same time?
No.
Your Honor, the witness has not had a chance to complete his answer.
Yes, please let the witness finish entirely before you make an additional statement.
Had you completed your answer?
Yes.
At At some point, did the male white open the gate for you?
Yes, he did.
How long had you been waiting at, let's try that, let me ask you this. After you spoke to the defendant on the intercom, how long after that did you have to wait for this other man to open the gate?
30 seconds or more.
What happened next?
He came towards me and opened the gate. I drove in.
Can you tell us where you parked the car?
I parked it right in front with the driver's side window parallel to the front door.
What happened next?
I popped the trunk and got out.
Did you notice whether anything was outside the front door?
Yes, there was a couple bags on the ground.
What kind?
Just black duffel bags.
Did you notice whether there were any other bags outside?
There was another one laying back towards the garage area, towards the back of the 2 cars that were parked in there.
Were there cars parked in the driveway?
From what I remember, yes.
Where were they?
There was 2 parked right here.
Do you remember what kind of cars they were?
I know one was a Rolls Royce and the other I couldn't tell.
Which one was closest to the house?
I can't remember that.
You can't remember whether it was the Rolls or the other one?
No.
Could you put 2 C's where you think the cars were parked on the driveway? Where in relation to those 2 cars did you see the other bag?
It was back here.
Was it on pavement or was it on grass, if you know?
From what I remember, it was on the driveway.
Can you put a B where you think you saw that other bag? And for the record, the witness has placed 2 C's where he indicated car on the driveway, which would have the gate that opens on a Rockingham, and he's placed a B just to the right of the second C. Can you describe that bag at all?
I couldn't describe it from where I was. It just seemed to be another dark duffel bag.
After you popped the trunk and got out of the car, what happened next?
The white male approached me.
Say something to you?
Yeah, he asked me how long I was ringing the bell.
Tell him?
Yeah,
What'd you tell him?
about 15 minutes.
Did you have, what else happened? Did you continue to talk to him?
I talked to him for a couple minutes.
Did you remember him asking you about an earthquake?
Yeah, he asked if I felt one.
Had you?
No.
Did you tell him that?
Yes.
Did he ask you for anything?
Well, later on he asked me for a flashlight.
After you finished talking to this person, did you see what he did or where he went?
He walked to the corner of the garage at one point. He was calling the dog. I was petting the dog.
Can you show us again where he walked to?
He was standing by the corner of the garage here.
Would you please put, put a circle where you have indicated to us earlier that you saw him after you had the conversation. And for the record, the witness has done so, placing a circle at the southernmost tip of the garage. Could you see whether or not he went around, indicate to you with my pen, around to the southernmost area south of the garage?
I can't recall if he did or not.
You don't recall if he did or not?
Yes.
But the last time you saw him was in the area you've indicated with the circle?
Yes.
What happened next? You
Well,
saw him walk down to that portion of the garage. What happened next?
I was sitting there petting the dog. He kept calling the dog to come over there, but the dog didn't want to leave, so he came back over.
What happened next?
At about that time, Mr. Simpson came out of the house.
And when the defendant came out of the house, was he carrying anything?
From what I remember, he had a like brown Gucci garment bag.
And what did he do with it?
He set it on the ground. I put it in the trunk.
And what about the duffel bags?
I picked those up and asked him where he'd like them. He said inside the car.
Did you put them inside the car?
Yes.
Can you tell us how much time passed between the time you saw the person in dark clothing, 6 foot, 200 pounds, go into the house, and the defendant come out of the house?
5 minutes or so. At the most, 5 minutes.
Now, this male white that you're referring to, did he come back from the garage area?
Yes, he did.
And did you see him have a conversation with the defendant when he returned?
From what I can remember, he helped him. At some point, they got the golf bags out of one of the cars and brought that over to the car. I was sitting at the back of the trunk most of the time,
What were you doing at the back of the truck?
just waiting for him to bring out bags.
And your limo was pointing towards what would ultimately be the Rockingham gate?
Yes.
Do you recall whether the male white had a conversation with the defendant about an earthquake?
I think the defendant heard us talking about it, and as he was walking by getting his bags, he said, "Oh, we had an earthquake?" Like a question.
So after all the bags were placed in the trunk, where were you and the defendant and the male white?
At one point, the defendant and the male white walked into the entry of the house, right in the front door area, and I was standing next to the back door waiting to open it.
Before that, was there ever a point when the three of you were standing behind the trunk as you were arranging the bags in the trunk?
I don't remember all at the same time. I mean, could have been.
The bag that you've indicated with the V on the diagram, whatever happened with that bag?
We were standing, Mr. Simpson and I were towards the back of the limousine, and the white male offered to go get the bag, but Mr. Simpson said, "No, that's okay. That's okay, let me get it."
He said, the defendant said, "That's okay, let me get it"?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And did he?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes? So the defendant went over and got that bag that you've indicated with a V?
Yes.
And did he bring it back to the limousine?
Yes, I think so.
Did that go into the trunk or into the inside of the car?
I don't remember that.
You didn't put it in.
No.
The defendant did.
Yes.
Now, after all the bags were loaded, what happened next?
After all the bags were loaded, that's when I guess the defendant went to go lock the house up or whatever, and we got ready to take off. We had to go. We were in a very big hurry.
You indicated that the defendant walked into the house with the male white at some point,
Yes.
and for how long did they go into the house?
Not more than a minute.
Was that before or after all the bags were loaded?
From what I can remember, after.
So all the bags were loaded and they stepped into the house briefly and came back out?
Yes.
And when they came back out, could you hear what they were talking about?
No.
Do you recall hearing a discussion about searching the property?
Yes.
What did you hear?
As they came out and came towards the car, the only thing I remember that I can hear was, you go around this way and I'll go around the other way.
Who said that?
Mr. Simpson and the white male.
Who said you go one way and I'll go the other?
Mr. Simpson.
And what happened then?
The white male walked towards the corner of the garage, where I indicated before, and I closed all the trunks up and everything, and I thought they were going to walk around the property. I was going to go with them, just to, make sure nothing was back there. And at that time, Mr. Simpson said, "We got to go."
So the defendant said, you go one way, I'll go the other. The male white walked to the southern edge of the garage that you've indicated with a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yes.
defendant said, let's go.
Yes.
Did you see where the male white went? Whether he went to the lower southernmost portion of the property below the garage at that point, or were you paying attention?
I wasn't paying attention to that.
Then did you leave?
Yes.
What gate did you leave from?
The Rockingham gate.
And which way did you go on Rockingham as you exited the gate?
I made a left.
Did you look to see whether any cars were parked on the right side as you faced the driveway of Rockingham, outside the residence?
I didn't look to see.
You were looking at parked cars?
Yeah.
Were you looking to see if there was traffic?
Yes, of course.
Can you tell us how many bags the defendant loaded into the car?
Five, if I can
5.
recall.
You had left on Rockingham?
Yes.
Can you tell us what the defendant was wearing that night when you left for the airport?
From what I can remember, some like stonewashed blue jeans and a white, like a polo shirt, white collared shirt, golf shirt.
Remember what kind of shoes?
No.
From what you could observe, sir, did he appear to be upset or angry or nervous? The
Objection,
defendant?
calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Can you describe the defendant's behavior that night when you saw him at the point that you were packing up the car with him, getting ready to leave?
Well, I've never met him before, so everything seemed okay to me.
Nothing seemed unusual to you?
No.
Did you notice any injuries to his hands?
No, I didn't.
Did his hair appear to be wet?
Not that I remember.
What time was it when you left, exited the Rockingham gate?
I'd say about 11:15.
Did you have some conversation with the defendant in the limousine as you drove to the airport?
Not conversation, no.
Did he say something to you?
He repeated 2 or 3 times that he was hot, and I can't remember if he asked where the air conditioning was, but I told him he could turn it on.
And did he?
Yes.
And how many times did he repeat that he was hot?
No, that's an answer.
Overruled.
I said 2 or 3 times.
Was the window up or down?
At some point,
Window.
Sustained.
Was any window up, or, excuse me, was any window down?
from what I can remember, he had the back passenger window down.
One or both?
Just one that I remember.
So the window was down and the air conditioning was on?
Yes.
Are there lights that can be turned on in the back seat of that limousine?
Yes, there is.
Were those lights on or off?
They were off at the time. I think he used them a couple times. Turned it off and on.
Did he ask you how to use them?
Yeah, he was looking for it, and by the time I was about to give an answer, he found it.
So he asked you how to turn on the light,
He said, "Where's a light switch?" Or,
and then did the light go on?
yes.
Could you see what he was doing at that time?
No, I wasn't looking.
Were you able to see any body movements?
To some point.
I'm sorry?
To some point. He was,
What did you see?
well, he had his bags on the floor, and I just figured he was just checking that he had everything.
What body movements could you see that led you to believe that?
That he was bending down.
Could you see arms or shoulders moving?
No.
You just saw him bending down.
Yes.
What was the traffic like that night?
It was very light.
Were you driving fast?
I wasn't doing the speed limit, I'll tell you that.
Now, can you recount for us the route that you took to the airport?
I took Rockingham down to Sunset, made a left onto Sunset and went down, which would be west, to the 405 freeway. I wasn't too familiar with the area, so the only thing that I could remember was to make a left off of Sunset to get onto the freeway. And at that time, he told me I could make a right, but I missed the street.
When you say he told you, you're talking about the defendant?
Yes.
So he was helping you with directions to the airport?
At that point, yes.
Did he help you again later on?
He
on the way to
just
the airport?
he just asked me if I wanted what street I was going to take, and he suggested I take Sepulveda. Probably be the quickest.
And did you?
Yes.
What time did you get to the airport?
About 11:35.
And when you got to the airport, what did you do?
Parked the car, popped the trunk, and started to help him get his bags out. I grabbed the Gucci bag first, and at that time he asked me to go get one of the sky caps.
So did you leave the Gucci bag there and go get the
Yeah,
backpack?
I set it down on the ground, and I went to go retrieve one, and everybody was busy, so I just grabbed a luggage cart.
And what did you do with that luggage cart?
I came back over to the car, and he set his golf clubs on there and the Gucci bag.
And what about the 2 duffel bags and the other bag that you indicate on the diagram with a V? Where did those go?
He carried them.
The defendant carried them?
Yeah.